our second episode of Voices for Blogging. Uh, Thanks for everybody that listened to our first episode. Hope you survived it and are back for this episode. In today's episode, we're gonna kind of talk about our picks in NFL, how the NFL weekend just went. It just ended tonight, and we're gonna talk about Royce's little weekend trip down to Palm Desert and just kind of see how that went. He did a little barbecuing down there, played a little golf. So, talk
Got a
to
little burnt.
talk to him about his little adventures this weekend. Royce, how you doing? How was your weekend?
It was great. I had a lot of fun. We could talk about the play-by-play for that a little later. But why don't we start off with the NFL?
Well, let's start off by saying the podcast is 5-2.
The
It's
podcast is 5-2. You're 3-0. I'm bringing up the back end.
I'm actually 4-0.
I'm 4-0. That's right. I have three picks.
Hey, but you broke through today. You broke the seal. You
I
picked a
broke.
great one. You
I
picked a
broke.
great one with the KC under.
I broke this. I broke the seal, but then also I broke my cardinal sin, man. I broke the rules. I don't bet on teams that I kind of follow. And since I'm in LA and I had season tickets, kind of follow the Rams.
Do
And
you
I
have tickets to SoFi?
I do not. So like when we were gonna transition to the new stadium. Well, one, I moved to Vegas, but two, the seat licenses were I think started at 7 grand,
Or like the
and they went.
nosebleeds?
Yeah, they went. I mean, they were the 7 grand ones were. I don't think were that bad, but the decent ones were like 10,000, and then obviously it goes up from there. You know, honestly, like going to the Coliseum and watching games there, there's a better experience watching football on the TV.
I believe so. I
Yeah,
mean, haven't been at a lot of live events, live games
yeah.
for college
The
and pros. Like, it's cool. And, for me, I've been fortunate and I've been able to be on the field at times or just have some great seats in the stands. And it's a great experience to feel the energy and vibe. But
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it would have been fun, and it would have been nice to do if it was easy to sell Rams tickets. But even when they went to the Super Bowl,
wasn't easy, right?
it's not easy to sell Rams tickets. Like you can't get
Yeah.
near face value for them. And it's interesting because the beginning of that season, a lot of the fans that would show up were not Rams fans. Like we had a game against the Packers that year, I think, where I would say 75% of the fans there were Packers fans, and this was a Super Bowl contender team.
That's
So
that's interesting too, though, right? I mean, you think about the I'm sorry, not the Lakers, but the Raiders. The Raiders are gonna have an interesting fan experience. I mean, I know of a lot of guys in Hawaii here that have season tickets that actually bought houses so that they can package the tickets with a vacation rental and all these kind of things. Not necessarily saying they're gonna go fly up every weekend and watch the games, but there's so much tourism around the Raiders and their stadium.
I think a lot of the people that are going to go to the games out there are going to be visitors. I mean, it's an entertainment destination, right? So Raiders game there is going to be just another entertainment option. And the weird thing about that stadium is that there's not much parking around it. You're gonna have to walk
You're,
or
you're
catch
gonna
an
have to walk,
Uber or take a bus or whatever it
right?
is. Yeah, there isn't much
Right.
parking around there. And that's one of the things that they were talking about when I was in Vegas is that they're building the stadium, but really there's not a lot of places for people to park to go to games.
Well, what's interesting though, Mandalay Bay is right there, and all these other casinos are close by. I can imagine there's just gonna be a lot of casino-hosted tailgate parties where they'll shuttle the fans over, no big deal, and just kind of
Yeah, no, I think
make a thing of it,
yeah, they'll definitely have to do that. I mean, that's going to be the entertainment package, right?
right? Hey,
NFL entertainment package.
remember our little shindig with the UNLV Hawaii game and the royal treatment we got with that? Come on now.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the next one, man.
We got put on a little bus, had our little 2-hour boozes before we kind of loaded on the bus. Had a ride
But
to and
that
from.
yeah, but that was a special time though. Like the 2007 team.
But our main concern was covering the over under that day until
Oh, of course, until
and all we did was yell at June Jones to keep passing the ball even though he was up.
and let them score.
Let them score. Let them score.
I thought it was
Uh,
funny how I think there was someone sitting around us that was asking like, what are they talking about? And immediately the guy knew. He was like, no, they bet the over.
I mean, remember to this day the over under being 63 for that game. You always remember the losses.
Always the losses and the crazy wins.
Yeah, and the wins, the backdoor wins.
Backdoor wins, yep.
Yeah, I mean this week actually our wins were pretty smooth. I mean, the Steelers pick that was pretty evident that was going to go our way right away.
Yeah.
The Steelers just dominated the Browns. Baker Mayfield looked like Mayfield of the last 2 years. The Colts over, that game. Joe Burrow, man, he's fun to watch.
You can throw it.
He flings it around, and you look at him, man, he's not your ordinary rookie quarterback.
See what happens with his career.
Yeah, it's the only thing, right? He's with the Bengals.
The Bungles.
They just find a way. They find a way to screw it up. But under tonight's game, I mean, did you know the weather was going to be that way? Like, what made you pick that?
I didn't know the weather was going to be that way, but Buffalo Bills, I mean, they're a rushing team. They have a pretty good defense. I just figured that it would come down. It would be a close game. There would be a lot of running, and usually running runs the clock quite a bit, right? It wasn't going to be something where you're not going to want to be on the field for a long time against the Chiefs. Like, if you just let the Chiefs stay on the field for a long time, they're going to score up a bunch of points, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to shorten the game, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to
that's
shorten
the
the
thing.
game.
You always got to shorten the game.
What you do against high-scoring offenses.
It's interesting with the Chiefs, right? I mean, really, their last few games, the teams they were playing, of course, they lost to the Raiders, but, the other games they played, it was pretty close. I mean, the league is starting to figure out things that they can do to give themselves a chance against the Chiefs. It's not like they're actually going to beat them that often, but, the games are entertaining. That's for sure. On the Bills
Yeah.
side, the Bills side, they can't run the ball. All of a sudden, they just struggle to run the ball. Josh
Yeah.
Allen looks like Josh Allen of last year once in a while. Just gets a little erratic and just does crazy things.
He's just not accurate. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he was missing throws for 5 to 10 yards, right? I mean, you can't do that.
Nah, you can't. And the weather sometimes has a little to do with that, but you got to be able to live through those things. I mean, he played in Wyoming, man, and weather's not ideal up there.
But he also
Yeah,
wasn't accurate there either, so
no,
kind of
he
needed
wasn't.
it.
It was that thing in that conversation we had before, right? Like, in some ways, Josh Allen and like even Herbert are the same way. The scouts love him, and then there's at times when you watch them in college, you're like, I don't get it. It's like Tom Hanks in Big with the transforming, building. I don't get it. But
Yeah.
they have size, they have the arm, and then they see some of the things that even Herbert, right? Herbert's putting up numbers. We'd just like to see him kind of turn into a victory soon.
He does look
He looks
pretty
the
good,
part.
though.
He looks the
Yeah, he
part.
looks the part. Seems like he's pretty accurate. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised by how good he's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you wonder, put a little more tape out there and see what happens on the defensive side. But as a whole, he's been able to put up numbers, and he looks real poised out there. And there's a couple errant throws here and there. I mean, he's a rookie. It's going to happen. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know, the LA Chargers and underachieving. That's pretty much been their story for I don't know how many years at this point.
Yeah, well, at least I guess even since the Danian Tomlinson days.
Even then, you could say they underachieved.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talent. That's
They
a
had a lot of
lot of
talent. I
talent.
mean, they were a good team for a long time. Just could never make it out of the AFC Championship.
Couldn't get out of there. So that's football. Never mind football. I'm more curious about what happened. What happened this weekend? Why'd you go out there?
So we were actually supposed to go to Coachella earlier this year, and I had never been, so I decided that I was going to go before all of this pandemic hit. So what happened is that the place that we were staying at, they wouldn't allow us to cancel and get a refund, but they would allow us to move the dates. And when they were talking about doing Coachella in October, we decided to move it to then because they couldn't
Right.
move it. They couldn't move it to the next year. So we actually ended up just having the rooms for October. So that's why we went out there.
Was it an Airbnb or was this kind of a hotel?
It's actually a timeshare. I thought it
Uh,
was an Airbnb, but it actually is a timeshare. And I don't know if maybe I don't know if it's a timeshare, like it was an Airbnb timeshare or what, but my friends had the place. So it was kind of nice. It was like one of those things where, you have your own kitchen, there's
mhm.
bedrooms, right?
Mhm.
There's a washer, dryer, dishwasher, like everything that you need. So it was really nice, and it was hot out there though, definitely this weekend. It was we've had a heat wave out here in LA that
Uh-huh.
came in. It's supposed to get cooler, I think, this week, but it was hot. Like it was over 100.
Yeah. You guys
Yeah,
get out golfing very much?
we went golfing on a Sunday morning.
Mhm.
So yeah, we went golfing at golf club at Terra Lago.
Mhm.
It was a really nice course, actually. Wasn't too bad. The fairways were pretty wide, but my drives were pretty wide. Or
Wide right?
yeah, wide into all parts of the golf course. Yeah, I had a pretty bad day. I lost a lot of golf balls. I left a lot of souvenirs on the course.
Did you find any along the way?
We did, and that kept us going for a little while. But actually, at the end, we
Did
were
you run out of balls?
we were a couple golf balls short. It was bad. I lent a couple golf balls out to a couple people too. So
Well, in the next episode or so, maybe the next couple episodes, I talked to Jay Turner, who's the founder of Avian Golf, who makes designs and fits his own custom golf clubs, and he agreed to be on the show along with one of my collegiate golfers that plays with those clubs. So I figure we'd probably make a golf show out of it, an episode or two from now. They both agreed to be on, so you can ask them about things you could do in your golf game, improve that experience where you don't run out of golf balls.
one of the things
I've
I
never,
need is a lot of practice. Unlike Allen Iverson, I need a lot of practice.
or
A,
apparently the Patriots. The Patriots
a
are like
lot.
on the Patriots are on like the Iverson plan right now. Like they're barely practicing and they're trying to win football games. It's impressive.
Really? Did they not have practice because of Corona? Or
Yeah, they really. I believe it was something like they might have only had two real practices in like the last 2 weeks, two or three,
wow.
and the rest is just a bunch of Zoom calls, meetings, and those type of things. And then remember, Cam was out for 2 weeks with COVID, so he hasn't practiced at all.
He looked a little off.
He was. I mean, he missed
Just,
Inkyo Harry wide
just,
open at the end of that game.
just the timing wasn't there. They looked out of it.
But back to your vacation this weekend. You showed me a picture of you barbecuing a little bit. How those ribs turn out?
The ribs were pretty tough. They're pretty dry. I didn't have like any apple cider vinegar or anything to like moisten them up after they were cooked. But I had made some steak along with the ribs too as well, and that turned out great actually. The steak turned
Uh-huh.
out great. The asparagus turned out great. We had rice.
Right.
So I mean those things were good, but
How'd you go after? How'd you try to make them? How were you trying to grill them?
just indirect on the grill at like
Mm-hmm.
300. I had them on there probably for like 40 minutes, maybe even a little
That.
longer.
Yeah. Usually with those ribs,
I need help with that.
yeah. If you were gonna do kind of the three is a little high, so if you kind of had it about 220 and just let it go, like you just let it go for hours, about 4 hours at least.
I didn't have that
I've
kind of.
done. Yeah, you don't have that kind of time, because
Yeah.
I've done it even in my oven where I just kind of just go really low for about 4 or 5 hours. Comes out pretty good. It doesn't dry them out, but once you kind of get above that 250 range, it starts to dry out. It just doesn't hold, it doesn't hold that moisture. Sometimes wrapping it after you're done will help, kind of how they do with briskets in Texas. A lot of times
Yeah.
they'll wrap it with saran wrap and those type of things. But with ribs, it's tough. When you don't have a lot of time, you are kind of left to either parboiling it first, putting in a sous vide, or sometimes I've steamed them. Like I'll put them in a steamer for about half an hour, and then I'll glaze them and I'll just char it on a grill, and it'll at least be soft,
Yeah.
and definitely won't dry out. The challenge of parboiling, of course, is you're gonna lose a lot of the oils and those kind of things into the water, if you're boiling it. And sometimes I'll boil. I kind of keep it on a low boil, sometimes for about half an hour, and that usually breaks it down. But the meat loses some of its flavor by doing it that way.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay away from ribs on a grill.
No, man, you just gotta do it again. Just gotta keep working on it.
Yeah. What I probably would have done is I probably would have wrapped it in tin foil. I mean, yeah, in tin foil
Right,
and put it in like some moisture,
right.
apple
You
cider
could do that.
vinegar,
Yep, yep. You could have
uh,
done that.
or maybe some beer.
Hmm.
That's what someone suggested.
And then just let it go and just kind of just cover it and just walk away from it. But it's a little harder, like you said, man. Time is a constraint, right?
It
It's
was the
not like you
time. Yeah, I mean, people wanted to eat, and so next time I'll start it at like as soon as I get up in the morning.
pretty well. And
Yeah,
then controlling the temperature is the thing. Was it a gas grill?
it was a gas grill.
Yeah. I mean, even with steaks nowadays, like the idea of just firing up a steak on high
Yep.
heat, you see a lot of times where actually cooking it on really low heat for a long time, it's gonna be it's akin to using a sous vide. And for those of you who don't know what a sous vide style of cooking would be, is you have a device that basically moderates your temperature. Sometimes the temperature of water is only about, if you're cooking a steak, the temperature of water might only be about 129, and you leave it in a Ziploc bag or a vacuum sealed bag, and you just let it go. You let it go for a good couple hours, and the enzymes in the meat gets broken down. The meat gets cooked to temperature. That's going to be pretty close to a medium, uh, medium rare, medium, closer to medium after you char it. So that kind of stuff is gained a lot of popularity. You'll hear about a lot of people on a grill just going really slow on a grill for a long time, and then charring it, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do with the steak. So basically, especially the grill that I have outside, there's one side where it has multiple burners, so you
Hmm.
can turn it up to pretty high heat, and it gets to a high temperature where you can sear the steaks.
Right,
So once I sear them, then I'll move it to the side and just use the indirect heating
right,
to cook the rest of it down.
right, right,
That turns out definitely that char adds a lot of flavor to the
right,
steaks.
right, right. Try the other way around. Try to go slow from the very beginning,
And then char it in.
char it after. Yeah,
Yeah.
try that. See how that goes. I mean, if not, of course, the faster way is just to get the sous vide. Anova has a pretty cheap one. Those things are like $60.
Yeah, I see them on Amazon quite a
Yeah,
bit.
they're so easy to use. You use a pot, and then I'm too cheap to buy a vacuum sealer, so I just use
Ziploc.
cheap guy science, and put the stuff into the Ziploc, immerse it in water, all the air comes out of the Ziploc bag and seal it up, man.
Yeah.
Same
Do, do
same,
you do you have what are those airlock things? It's
like the
funny, I
vacuum,
have one, but I can't think of the name
one
off
of
the top
those,
of my head right
the one you use the hand pump to suck all the air out. That one.
now. No, they have automated ones. I have one actually.
You have a vacuum sealer.
Yeah, but I cannot remember the name of it right now. It's whatever the
The
popular
food
one is.
saver.
Yes,
Like,
Food Saver.
yeah, food saver.
Dude,
I mean, yeah, and just go on Amazon and just buy a roll of bags. Like you
I
do that
still,
and you sous vide it. It's pretty. The steak comes out fantastic. It's consistent every time.
I'm gonna have to try that then. I have bags. I use
Right,
primarily. I actually have the plastic containers, and I use vegetables and stick them in there and just
right,
vacuum it, and it lasts a
right.
little bit longer.
It does.
Yeah,
And if I ever send you 80 pounds of fish because that's how much it takes to get a cheap shipping price,
yeah.
you can vacuum seal all the sashimi and all that kind of stuff that I can send over. But no, it's definitely the way to go when you're cooking steaks, I think. It's fast. You could throw it in there for as little as half an hour and 40 minutes, and it'll get there. It'll get there where the steak's gonna be juicier, it's gonna be softer, and you're gonna sear it up, and it's gonna be a perfect temperature. I'm not a guy that likes to season it before while it's in the bag. If anything, I'll put a little bit of salt, but really just garlic and other aromatics, and that's it. Some people like to fully season, and I'm not a huge fan of that because I believe in the steak being as dry as possible in order to get a good char on it when I throw it on the grill or throw it in the pan. So after I pull it out of the bag, I'll dab it down and make sure it's as dry as I can make it. Then I'll put my rub on there and then just either sear it in a cast iron pan or throw it on the grill real quick.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so that's the thing with steaks, right? Like if you try to cook a steak that's super wet, it doesn't char up very well, unless it's wet because it's in a marinade and it has a lot of sugar, and of course then that'll char up a ton,
Sure,
but
yeah.
the sugar will burn. But you want to be careful about burning because that once that burn taste gets in there, it just kind of screws up the whole steak.
Yeah.
But
I'll have
man,
to
you're
try that sometime.
making me hungry, dude. I might want to go get a steak now. It's only 8:40 in Hawaii time, so it's mildly acceptable for me to eat a steak right now.
Yeah, that's not bad, dude. It's 11:40 here. I probably couldn't do that.
So so why to change the scenery, man? What's going on here? Like you're usually in your office, I think, when we do this.
Oh, I don't know. I just decided to try something different today. And my desktop usually has a bunch of attachments on it, so I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes the sound doesn't always work. So I'm trying with my laptop today and see. It was a little bit easier. I mean, it definitely seems like it's working. Because I have my fancy microphone, dude.
I see that.
See it right here?
I see that. I mean, like I said though,
Fancy.
I think the sound on our first episode was pretty decent. Outside of, I think there was a connection issue on my end, because I'm sure our internet service in Hawaii is firing on all cylinders.
It could
Or,
be your end. It could be my end.
yep.
I've been having a lot of problems with internet here. There's
Isn't
two.
it isn't it amazing how much traffic's on the internet right now, and just how our service is just getting affected by it.
So here's my theory. I don't think that it's all just Zoom calls. I think it's
Hmm.
all these kids that are also gaming at home instead of going to school.
100%.
I think
You
they're
know, it's
playing like a lot of
for
Fortnite
sure,
and
for sure, for
yeah.
sure. Because that stuff definitely is a hog, of internet service. And then, like we talked about before, there's so many people streaming TV now. There's just so many people on everything streaming. I think I looked on my Google router, and I think we had like 20 devices online at one time. At some point in time, that's got to affect our the ability for us to get as high speed as possible.
Yeah. Oh,
So
there you go.
hopefully our occasional our bad connections don't affect people's decision whether to listen to this podcast. If not, you and I are listening, so
That's
there's
all that
always that.
matters. We're just entertaining ourselves, dude.
Like I said, I listened to our first episode, and I didn't think our voices were that I should say hard to listen to for that long. I definitely was expecting a lot worse. It's not that it was great. It was just not as bad as I thought it was going to be. High standards here.
That's for sure, dude.
Yeah, high standards here.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. What you got going this week? What's on tap for you? Is there any crazy COVID stuff going on up there, or any new news with California?
No crazy stuff happening here, as far as I know. I mean, I just got back yesterday,
Hmm.
so I haven't obviously seen any. But as far as I know, there's not much happening. It's like I said, it was getting cooler here
Hmm.
this week. It's actually been pretty overcast in the morning. See how long that lasts. But also next week, I'll be going to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So actually, that brings me back to another story. On the way, when we were driving up to go to Palm Springs this weekend, we made a casino stop at Hot Water Casino,
How'd that go?
Agua Agua Caliente. Oh, it went very well. We got there at around 11 in the morning and started playing blackjack. The table was going pretty well. Actually, made a bunch of money there, which is good because the last time I was in Vegas, I lost a bunch of money there.
You're talking
So
about You're talking about 2 weeks ago when you're in Vegas.
yeah. So I'm actually on the whole, or I guess on the month or 2 months, almost close to breaking even.
Wow. And that's when you're definitely a gambler at heart. When you don't hesitate to just jump back in on the table after getting raked a little bit
Oh, yeah,
the
you
last time you're in
shouldn't. You
Vegas.
can't. You can't. Like the last time I was in Vegas at Red Rock, I think I lost $600.
In a span of maybe 2 hours.
Well, it was definitely more than that, but I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 nights. It probably was 2 nights.
Hmm.
2 nights of getting straight 100-mile-an-hour heat from all the closers that they had working at the casino.
You staying there again? Are you gonna be at Red Rock again?
I will be. I'm probably gonna stay at Red Rock. It seems
You
like the
heading back to
strip
Vegas?
is a little too crazy right now.
Are you heading over to Vegas to check on the mining machines there, just to make sure they're working okay?
Yep, just make sure they turn the ones that went off back on.
Oh, your partners went over and turned them back on. You didn't go. You didn't have to go back there and turn it back on.
Oh no, I'm going back there to turn some of them on. I think we had a little power outage.
Man, what kind of energy does those things take?
It's not that much. Like it depending on what you have. Like it's maybe the wattage of a powerful like microwave or toaster oven,
Uh huh.
like 1,000 watts maybe. Some of
Right.
them obviously take a little bit more. So maybe up to 2,000 watts
Right. But
at max.
they're running all day, huh?
Yeah, they're running all day. Consistent power drain or draw.
Right.
I think.
Holy cow. That's an
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
impressive amount of energy that you use. Like if that were in Hawaii, man, you'd get taxed like so badly energy
Oh,
wise.
if that was in Hawaii, it'd be a
Hawaii, you're
lot of
paying,
money on energy.
yeah,
Is it 33 cents?
yeah, 33 to 40 usually, depending. They've kind
Wow.
of put it on a sliding scale now. So if you use more, you'll get charged more.
Yeah. So in California, when we were in Pasadena, I think we were paying, I can't remember exactly now,
Right.
like close to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. So basically
But
that's like during the summer, right?
right.
I think we were paying that much. And then in Vegas, it's like 7 cents.
That's crazy. 7 cents, and you're paying for energy to cool wherever it is that you have your machines, and of course energy
Yeah.
to run the machines.
Yep. Well, we don't spend a ton of money, I would say, on cooling just because the ways that we are cooling things in there,
Hmm.
it doesn't require a lot of energy. So like if you had like AC units,
Right.
that would take a lot of power. But
Right.
right now we don't have to do that.
That's impressive and almost illogical since it's in the desert that you somehow found a way to cool your machines without AC.
Yeah.
Wow. What temperature can they work up to before they start becoming inefficient or damage the machines?
Yeah, you don't want them, you pretty much don't want them running over 70 degrees Celsius. So that's what we try to keep them around.
Right.
We've had them running in the past at 80, but it's,
That's
you know,
hot, dude.
it's not, yeah, it's pretty hot.
That's hot, dude.
Yeah. There's a lot of hot
Wow.
air.
Any updates on the crypto front? Since we're on the topic of cryptocurrency, anything new about this week? That rollout of the Ethereum 2.0 is right around the corner, though, right? You were mentioning that's in sometime in November.
Yeah, sometime in November. Well, that's what they're shooting for. So, we'll see.
Those target dates are typically pretty accurate, or
For Ethereum, not really because, they've had a lot of missed milestones for various reasons. It's tough. It's complex, right? So
right?
I don't blame them for anything.
Well, on another episode, you're gonna have to break that down for us just a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
For a little bit that you've talked to me about him, and I mean, I'm looking at picking up some Ethereum before November, so probably sometime next week. Now that we're allowed to start to trade cryptocurrency here in Hawaii on a interim basis, because it takes us forever here in Hawaii to get started and join the real world to do anything. Um,
I have no comment on that.
I mean, hey, we did open to tourism this week though. Come and get tested, and 72 hours before you get on a plane to show up here in Hawaii, you can come to Hawaii and you don't have to quarantine.
No, yeah, that's really interesting. So I've actually had a lot of people ask me about going to Hawaii and ask me about like staying there at the end of the year or
Right?
so
Right.
that's a really big deal. I'm
I mean,
sure. In fact, the tourism industry over there has been hit really hard.
it's been hit substantially hard, and that was the thing I was talking about with some people here about the tourism that we're going to see is going to be a little different. There will be some people that decide I don't want to spend my winter in cold weather. I'm going to spend it in Hawaii. And legally here you can rent anything for 30 days or more. I don't know what stops somebody necessarily from saying, hey, I'm going to rent a house for 2 months and just make like I live in Hawaii for a couple months and get through the winter.
So I have a question for you actually.
Yeah.
This came up today because I was talking to one of my friends who was looking for a place to stay out there, and he
Mm-hmm.
was looking at Airbnbs for the family.
Right.
And
Honolulu or Maui?
Honolulu, like
Okay.
on the North Shore, and so they actually put in some requests
Right.
for a couple of Airbnbs out there, and
Right.
actually got canceled or they got turned down.
So in Hawaii, in Honolulu, it's illegal to do any short-term rentals outside of hotel zones. So it's a very limited area that you actually can have an Airbnb be legal. Now, if your friend is staying here for a long period of time, that's when you start looking at just the regular housing market rentals and
Yeah.
just ask somebody if they're open to renting it for more than a month or a month, because if you can rent any house for a month and that would not be considered a short-term rental. Um,
Wow.
it's like being it's like being month to month on a lease
So they they
when you
they
rent a house.
they basically banned Airbnb from Hawaii.
Yeah, so everyone, like some other places in the U.S., I'm sure, everyone here in Honolulu is just doing it illegally, um, unless they're in a hotel zone, which isn't very many places. Like they screwed up when they drew the lines on the hotel zone. So there's some long-standing places on Kuhio Avenue here that are actually illegal, but no one's gonna bust them because they traditionally have been short-term rentals. Some of those condos that are on Kuhio. So everyone just does it under the radar. That's why in Hawaii, when you look on the listing, there's no picture of the house on the outside, or there's no exact address of where the house is.
Interesting.
So they're cracked down. Like they look, they call, they show up, and they rely on, and especially now with COVID, there's neighborhoods where no one's gonna stand for it because they don't want them staying. You don't want people from the mainland staying around their house. And there's some of that, and the North Shore is such a tight knit community. Like I can see how some of them are like, nah, man, they don't want the backlash, if somebody gets up there and and they're infected.
Yeah.
How long's your buddy staying
I
for?
saw 10 days, I think.
So that's the hard part. At the same time, though, if you look at it this way, where if you stayed 10 days at a hotel, let's say 10 days at Turtle Bay, how much is the visitor going to pay? That's at least $3,000.
That's $3,000. Yeah, because it's $300
Right.
a night.
So what would stop you from just taking a 30-day lease on one of the houses that are up there? That probably will cost about $3,000. So if I
That's a
were,
lot of That is a lot of money, though.
but if you were going to spend that anyway at a hotel, what's the difference?
Yeah, but if you're not going to spend that much at a
Then you
hotel,
can't. Then you can't go.
then you're
Then you
not
can't go
gonna.
that route. Then you
Yeah.
can't go that route, right? Especially with a family too. You want to make sure the house is solid, and those type of things. But those are kind of a challenge. Up in the North Shore, though, the courtyard up by Polynesian Cultural Center,
Yeah.
it is a nice little hotel. It's pretty new. I like staying up there. So if you're gonna stay up in the North Shore on the Laie side, like that's a good place to stay.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I might have him take a look at that then.
Yeah.
Some.
If you're gonna Sunset side, that's different. You don't have any choices.
Yeah.
You don't have any choices on the Sunset side.
So anything else happening in Hawaii?
Just everyone, people don't believe the politicians here. I don't know. I don't think any of that's unique to Hawaii at this point. I'm pretty sure everyone's pissed off at everybody at this point. Um,
Pretty
but
much.
I mean, it's everyone has COVID fatigue, right? And everyone's not trusting. Everyone believes that their politicians are holding back on them for some other for whatever reason it be, so they can fulfill their agendas and their objectives. So I mean, there's that. I would say more people than not are nervous about the reopening to tourists, but there's also a lot of people that are probably happy to go back to work and try to get back on their feet, and because there are some people that are just tired of staying at home. Um, with fewer people in the water at the beaches, we've been seeing sharks a lot more, like at Kaimanas.
Yeah.
Sharks have been there for probably 2 of the last 4 weeks.
Interesting.
Just
Yeah.
just
So
coming in
what I want to
chasing
know,
bait fish.
yeah, what I want to know is that when I was back in Hawaii, maybe 2 years ago, I was telling one of my friends there about Hanauma Bay and
Hmm.
how, when we used to go there as kids, you would go in the water, it was super clear, the fish would swim all around you, right?
Right,
It was amazing. And
right,
so when I went there this last time, it was so sad. The water was murky,
right,
the coral was all brown.
right.
There's barely any fish there. Like if that place is making a recovery now, then I would be, happy about that.
I
'Cause it
was
was,
just talking. I was just talking to some friends about that. It has made a big recovery, and I feel like we should keep it closed until next summer. Just because, like, let it really recover. Whatever we hear about it, because it's been closed for about 7 months at this point. So the water's clearer, the reef is getting healthier. So we don't have all the sunscreen in the water, especially the wrong kind of sunscreen. We don't have people trampling over the reefs. It's just the volume of people that at some point in time, both local and visitors,
yeah.
that use the place that just kind of just takes its wear and tear. Like we either make it really expensive to go there or just keep it closed for, until we really have an influx of tourism, maybe hopefully by, next summer, for the next busy season. But there's other places you can go snorkeling. There's areas by the natatorium where you can go snorkeling, and right in front of the natatorium in Waikiki where it's a reserve, and so you can't. It's a preserve where you can't fish, and the reef's nice there, and there's things you can see. But
I mean, the reality is you could go snorkeling anywhere in Hawaii.
you can. I just don't want to hear stories about tourists that don't know any better, and they try to go snorkeling somewhere around Haleiwa, pipeline and stuff this time of year, because they're not coming back.
The undertow, man.
Strong, strong current. You have
Strong, strong
no
currents.
idea how strong it is until you actually get in there and you feel that pull, and it is strong. And with fins on, it barely is enough sometimes to just be able to push out of that stuff. So, yeah, man, you think you can come back this holiday season?
I think I'm gonna try. One of my friend that I was talking about, he's heading out there at the end of the year.
Hmm.
So I was thinking that, I mean, obviously I would try to go back anyway.
Right.
Uh, but if I can, then it'd be a great time since everybody will be there.
Yeah, just to time it out, huh?
Yeah, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. I'd have to take a COVID test three
Yeah, I
days
mean,
before I leave.
and it'll get easier. The system will be set up better than it was for this past week. But I think having CVS and Walgreens on the list of places you can get tested, and there's some airlines that are setting up testing at major airports. It's going to get easier and easier to come here. We need to set up post-travel testing probably to make people feel more comfortable. But at the same time, and the planes, from all reports, are as clean as they've ever been. You know.
I'm sure. Yeah. Actually, we were talking about that this weekend too, and you can get a coronavirus test pretty quickly at Dodger Stadium, and I think you get the results they were saying like within either a couple hours or like a
Mhm.
day.
Right.
So it's pretty quick. So if I was
J-
going to go to Hawaii at the end of the year, I'd probably try to do something like that.
Well, you'd have to see if the people running the testing at Dodger Stadium is an approved testing partner. There's
Oh, that's
about
right. Yeah.
there's about a dozen places. That's why I like Walgreens and CVS is like the easiest ones, because they have the infrastructure too, right? To move the results around for you,
Yeah.
electronically. Because you basically set up your own QR code before you travel here, and your travel file is attached to that code.
Yeah.
So they'll know, you just upload your results into your file. But we'll see. So far, seemingly it went as smooth as you could hope it would. In 2 weeks, we'll see if there's a spike in our cases.
Yep.
That's really what we're looking at. I mean, I don't see how we're going to be unique to everybody else. Everyone else has a spike. Alaska has a spike, and they're trying to take so many precautions for their tourists. but they've spiked. So I don't see how that's not going to happen here. And then we have that crap show of election coming in a couple weeks, so that'll be fun.
That'll be interesting, man. I already mailed him a ballot. Interesting. So like Kanye West was on the ballot, but he was on the ballot as vice president, and he was running under, I don't even remember the guy's name now. But he was on there.
That's hilarious. Well, what do you think the agenda is with that?
But
Like take some populist votes away from Trump? What do you think the agenda was that?
promotion, marketing. I think this is one of the reasons why Trump ran in the first place too.
Right.
And Trump and
Right.
Kanye are friends,
Right.
and it definitely got him a lot of publicity.
It has. It has. Man, yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. There's going to be a 2 to 3 day lag on knowing who won, and there's going to be a ton of noise. Stock market's going to be all over the damn place. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting November for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
And just another chapter in the book of 2020.
What a way to end. What a way to end 2020.
Hey, November isn't the end yet, dude.
I mean,
There's a whole nother month after that.
we're ending 2020 with Trump calling Dr. Fauci an idiot. So, this is right about how we figured 2020 is going to end, just in pure chaos.
Oh, I'm waiting for the aliens. Because it's coming, dude.
Well, when they come here, we can go up there, upload a virus in their computers, and shoot them with a nuke. Just
Yeah, I don't know if
well,
it's
Independence
gonna
Day on
work
this.
I don't know if it's really gonna work that way. I mean, it's hard to believe that the technology that we have would just be
Would destroy alien
immediately
technology.
compatible with alien
Yeah.
technology.
The way they did in the movie. I always say that's the hubris of the human mind, right?
It's like Hollywood is making these things up.
Yeah. Well,
Ugh.
with that, I think we probably could wrap up this episode.
I think we can.
Looking forward to kind of the next episode. We'll try to see if we'll effort to get Jay and Evan on so we can have that little golf show. I think that golf show will speak to a lot of other people out there that are struggling with their golf game or just had, a lot of questions about golf clubs. Jay will be here to answer all those questions. He's been fitting and making clubs for over 30 years. So he's like an encyclopedia.
Who struggles with their golf game? I don't know.
God, I don't know. It might be you and me.
I have massive struggles.
I mean, I think I play on a normal year. I'll play at most 5 to 6 times a year. I did play last week and I did okay. I mean, I had one double and 4 pars and the rest were bogeys. I'm like, I can live with that.
That's not bad. Where are you playing at?
I was at Kapolei. Kapolei is one of the nicer courses that isn't crazy expensive. They take good care of the greens and the fairway there. And the Twilight's only $50. And you can finish the whole round. And you get a cart.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. $50 so tee off at 2 o'clock and I can finish the round. I'm in. For sure.
Well, we'll have to play sometime when I'm out there.
Well, bring your clubs when you come out here. Maybe by then we'll fit your clubs to make sure they fit your monster stature.
They're definitely too big.
Yeah, I can easily make the assumption your clubs are too big for you, big guy.
Anyway.
All right, man. Well, with
Alrighty.
that, we'll talk to you later. Hope everyone enjoys this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys. Bye.